Brazil did it in 1962. Nobody has done it since. Not Spain. Not Germany. Not any World Cup champion in more than 60 years. Yet in 2026, one 39-year-old footballer is about to try. And the strange part? He might actually have a chance. Because this isn't just a story about defending a trophy. It's a story about defending an era. For nearly 20 years, football has belonged to Lionel Messi. Generations of players have come and gone. Managers changed. Tactics evolved. Entire teams rose and disappeared. And somehow, Messi remained. Now, he's heading to another World Cup, his 6th one. Just think about that for a second. Messi played his first World Cup in 2006. Some of the young stars hoping to dominate the 2026 tournament were children back then. A few weren't even born. That sounds ridiculous. And honestly, it kind of is. Which is why so many people believe the story ends here. A 39-year-old footballer trying to defend the biggest trophy in sports history. It sounds impossible. But football has a funny habit of making impossible stories feel real. Before we talk about Messi himself, there's something even bigger standing in Argentina's way. History. Winning a World Cup is already one of the hardest achievements in sports. Defending it is something else entirely. Since Brazil lifted consecutive World Cups in 1958 and 1962, champion after champion has tried to repeat the feat. Every one of them failed. Some didn't even survive the group stage. Think about how many legendary teams have appeared since then. All of them believed they could do it. None of them actually did. And that's what makes Argentina's challenge so fascinating. They're not chasing another title. They're chasing something football has barely allowed anyone to touch for more than 6 decades. History doesn't care how talented you are. History doesn't care how many trophies you've won. History simply says, defending the World Cup almost never happens. But here's where things get interesting. Most people assume Messi's age is Argentina's biggest problem. I'm not sure that's true. Yes, he'll be 39. Yes, football becomes harder with every passing year. That's obvious. But nobody is worried about Messi's talent. Come on. We've been hearing doubts about Messi for nearly 20 years. And somehow, he keeps proving people wrong. The real issue isn't talent. It's time, recovery, energy. The small details nobody notices until they're gone. At 25, your body forgives mistakes. At 39, it remembers every one of them. Every sprint costs a little more. Every collision lasts a little longer. Every recovery session becomes a little more important. That's not criticism. That's biology. And Messi understands it better than anyone. That's why Argentina probably don't need the Messi from 10 years ago. Actually, let me correct that. They definitely don't need the Messi from 10 years ago. Because chasing defenders for 90 minutes isn't what makes him dangerous anymore. His greatest weapon today is something much harder to defend: his mind. The ability to see spaces before they exist. The ability to slow an entire match down and then suddenly speed it up with one touch. One pass, one decision, one moment. And that may be exactly what Argentina need. Think about this. If you were coaching Argentina, would you start Messi in every single match? Or would you protect him? Would you sacrifice a few minutes in the group stage to gain a fresher Messi in the quarterfinals? Because that decision could define the tournament. And it leads us to the biggest misconception surrounding Argentina. Many fans still talk about them as if they're a one-man team. That version of Argentina is gone. 4 years ago, every conversation started with Messi. Today, not necessarily. For the first time in years, Argentina can survive a quiet Messi performance. That's a huge change. Because around him is a team filled with players entering their prime. A team that knows how to win. A team that no longer panics when Messi isn't involved in every attack. And ironically, that's exactly what makes Messi more dangerous. Defenders can't focus on him alone anymore. The threats come from everywhere. One moment you're tracking a run behind the defense. The next moment, Messi finds a pocket of space. Then, it's too late. The ball is already moving. The chance is already created. The damage is already done. That's what great teams do. And that's what this Argentina side has become. Which brings us to the most important part of the story: the role Messi will play. Many people imagine that if Argentina win another World Cup, Messi will need to dominate the tournament the way he did in Qatar. I don't think that's what success looks like anymore. The most dangerous version of Messi in 2026 might actually touch the ball less, run less, dribble less, and still decide more matches. That sounds strange until you remember who we're talking about. Football history is full of players who adapted as they aged, but very few adapted while remaining world class. Messi has. He's no longer trying to beat 5 defenders every game. He doesn't need to. What he does now is often more devastating. He waits, observes, calculates, and then, suddenly, he appears exactly where the game needs him. It's almost unfair. The legs may slow down. The brain rarely does. It's almost unfair. The legs may slow down. The brain rarely does. Messi has lived through all of it. The heartbreaks, the criticism, the lost finals, the victories, the nights when an entire country expected miracles, and the nights when he delivered them. That's why writing him off feels dangerous. Not because he's still the same player, because he isn't. He's a different player now, a smarter one, a more selective one, maybe even a more efficient one. And there's one final detail that makes this story impossible to ignore. Every World Cup creates a new king. Pelé had his moment. Maradona had his. Zidane had his. Ronaldo had his. Mbappe may have his. Maybe another young superstar will announce himself in 2026. Maybe football's future is already waiting. But if that future wants the throne, it may have to go through one man first. Because Lionel Messi isn't just trying to defend a World Cup. He's trying to defend an era. And if football decides to give us one last chapter, one last unforgettable moment, one last reminder of why his name has defined a generation, then the biggest story of the 2026 World Cup might not be the rise of the next superstar. It might be the refusal of the last one to let go. And here's the scary part. If Messi somehow lifts that trophy again at 39, the debate may finally be over. Not because of the goals, not because of the records, not even because of the trophies, but because he would have done something football itself has refused to allow for more than 60 years. He would have beaten history. And when a player starts beating history, he's no longer competing against other footballers. He's competing against time itself.